Well, Poor Richard's Press can trace its roots back to 1946. World War II had just ended, and my father had a dream of having his own weekly newspaper and commercial print shop. So that's what brought him to San Luis Obispo in 1946. As my dad was studying printing at Cal Poly, Camp Roberts was shutting down. My dad heard about an old printing press that they were going to get rid of. Well, he drove up there with some of his buddies and picked it up for nothing and brought it back to his garage. And the Telegram Tribune had decided to get rid of their own commercial printing operation. This pile of client records and negatives and plates over here, my dad looked at it and he saw the opportunity and offered to pay the Telegram $100 and he'd take it away for free. He loaded it in the back of his pickup truck, took it home, and figured out who was buying printing, when, how much they paid, started calling these clients saying that they were ready to do their work.
What he did took guts. Right after World War II, guy had nothing, came to Cal Poly, and built a life.
So now my dad was in business. He had a steady stream of clients. The city of San Luis, the county, Cal Poly, and just about every business in town. He named his company Blake Printery. I wasn't really that interested in printing. Don't we all want to be pilots or cowboys or police officers or something like that? Printing to a kid would seem pretty boring, and I was no different. I wanted to be a Navy pilot as I was growing up. My dad bought me this little printing press when I was in grade school. Thought I might have some fun with it. I printed school event tickets, class selection material. You couldn't get elected to school office without my printing. So I went to UC Berkeley and did well. Came back to earn money to pay for graduate school. So at $1.15 an hour, I delivered jobs around town. Kind of liked it. People are happy when you're bringing them something they want. So I put off graduate school for a quarter, and then another quarter. Finally I said, hey, this is a pretty good deal. I think I'll stay in San Luis. I took over Blake Printery, and my dad happily retired to pursue his political ambitions. And I found myself managing 7 employees, all of whom were older. I could feel the resentment. So I gathered them all together and I said, guys, look, I know that you're the experts, but I think I can sell this stuff. We can work together as a team. I think we can make this work. So we went forward, and over the years, we completely dominated the local printing industry by doing a good job, giving good service and good quality. But after about 2 years, I realized that the print market really involved 2 separate markets. Those 2 markets required different equipment, different procedures, different methods of production, and even different personnel. That was really the impetus for Poor Richard's Press and reintroducing Poor Richard's Press to the marketplace. Over the years, we've developed 13 different companies and had over 2,000 employees. And Todd was the best. He was the best pressman. He became the best manager. And after a number of years, it was pretty obvious who would be the new owner of Poor Richard's Press.
With 5 locations on the Central Coast, it's hard to be everywhere at once. That's why every Poor Richard's Press is led by a skilled manager and staff with years of printing experience. In Santa Maria, Todd Ventura brings 12 years of Poor Richard's experience to your printing project. Big or small, he understands how important your printing job is to your business. From single color manuals to full color brochures, we can work with your design or design it for you at Poor Richard's Press.
Poor Richard's Press.
I was an ag student to Cal Poly, and all I wanted to do was move my pink refrigerator. I was a college student like many other people, and I was moving from one place to another. I knew people at Poor Richard's Press, and so I came down to borrow their hand truck. The next thing I know, I'm being introduced to these different people, and they offered me a job. I don't want a job. I just want to move my refrigerator. So they let me borrow the hand truck, and I moved my refrigerator, and I brought the hand truck back, and I struck up a conversation again with these guys, and the guy says to me, "We just opened this other location across town here, and I'd really like to give you a job." And so in the back of my mind, I thought, well, I'm a poor college student, and I could probably use the beer money, and okay, I could work here, but I could never work ever on Thursday night or Friday morning, and I don't want to come in too early on Saturdays, but I could do maybe Tuesdays from like noon to 4. And he goes, "Funny thing, that's the exact hours I need somebody." Of course, he set me up, and I didn't know that at the time, but so I started working at Poor Richard's Press at the very lowest level, doing the most basic of things. And I really liked it. I liked the people. I liked the opportunities. I liked that, Poor Richard's was well known, and Poor Richard's did all the textbooks at that time for El Corral Bookstore. They were just in the communities everywhere, and I liked it. I enjoyed the work. It was fast-paced and fun, and I'll always have agriculture in my life, but Poor Richard's gave me an opportunity I wanted to seize. And that's what I did. I took the job, and here I am 35 years later. Connection with Poor Richard's, this building. You can't see it right now, but on the other side of the camera, there's an area that's marked panel O and panel P. They're electrical panels. It's literally where I started my career, looking at those panels for 8 hours a day. Right over to my right, my 2 o'clock, the floor stained where we used to run something called Blue Etch from back in the day. There's this humming. It's in this building all the time. It's omnipresent, and it's a giant transformer, and because we use so much electricity, the smells have changed, the sound has changed over the years. But I can tell you how my facility is doing just by listening. This thing is just humming. The press ramps up when it starts. When you hear the folder like in the background, and the embroidery equipment, then it just creates this energy, and I can walk through it, and I can see Al on the embroidery equipment just hammering. He comes here every day and works. I've got David in the digital department, who was 20 when I hired David, at $4.35 an hour, literally. I said, "Stick with me, David," and he did, and he's still with me today. I've been fortunate to work under 2 men that were great mentors. I don't know that I would categorize myself with Emmons and Richard. Those guys, I think, were true pioneers and critical thinkers. I don't pretend to think that I'm pioneer-oriented as Emmons was. Richard came in, took what he had, grew it to a place, so his was strategy, I don't know that I'm either one of those 2 guys, but I'll always love this facility. I'll always love having come here for 35 years, and it'll be gratifying to see my son doing something with it. So at different points, all my boys have come into the business and helped me. At the end of the day, there's the one man standing, right? And that's my son, Ethan, who has been in the business now for a number of years. I never thought he would end up in the business. I was kind of thinking he wouldn't, honestly. And then a few years ago, when we were crazy busy, we were running 24 hours a day on certain pieces of equipment. And we should have enough bodies at that point. So I brought Ethan in. I said, "Ethan, look, I'm having a hard time running from one end to the other and doing this thing. I need you to help me. You just babysit this end, and I'm going to babysit that end." And he did. And he was good at it. He was really good at it. And he just kept doing it. And pretty soon I was like, okay, he's better than I am at this. And I just let him run it.
I started from the smallest of the small, and then really when I was ready to go and started working here full time, I was kind of thrown into the fire. And those first couple months, there's just so much to take away from it, you know, working hand in hand with my dad and him, you know, showing me hands-on how to run that press.
So Ethan's here, and, you know, he's my general manager. He's my right-hand guy and my left most times. I'm not retired, and I don't plan to anytime soon, but I'm very comfortable having my son in the business. I know that with Ethan here, you know, our print, our apparel, our design, our mail, our promo, our web are going to continue to move forward. And who knows, there may be other things that I haven't thought of that he is thinking of.
Following in my father's footsteps, and, you know, not just my father, knowing, you know, Emmons Blake, Richard Blake, knowing what it meant for my dad to follow in Richard and Emmons' footsteps as well. Just extremely humbling, really. So much history, so many different changes throughout the industry, the business itself. The future and Poor Richard's Press evolves as our clients evolve. We want to stay ahead of the current trends that are going on. What's the new? What's the next? You have to stay ahead of that curve, and you can never really be content with where you're at in the current day.